Welcome back to the CS Podcast. I am your host, Chris Shanafel, and I'm now joined by former NFL defensive back Ricky Manning. Thanks for joining the show, Ricky. How's it going?
It's going great, man. God is good. It's just blessed.
Hey, I hear you on that, man. So we're in this interview, we're going to be talking about your football career, and I know that you attended UCLA, and you started 45 consecutive games for the Bruins, which is second most in school history. And during your time there, you picked off 13 passes, and you entered the 2003 NFL Draft. I just got to ask you, how exactly would you describe your overall college experience at UCLA?
It's absolutely amazing, man. Just to play football at that level, on a national stage at a great university, man, was just a blessing. And of course, the things that came along with it is the relationships built, and the education as well. So I definitely love my college career, love my college experience, and all. Being in Los Angeles, just a great place, man. Overall, been around some great guys that went on to play in the NFL, and some great coaches as well.
In the third round of the 2003 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Ricky Manning, cornerback out of UCLA. What was that moment like for you to be drafted into the NFL?
It was sort of surreal, man. For my family and I, because you watch TV, you watch NFL on TV, and being a minor league baseball player at the time, it's a little different because I got drafted coming out of high school, and it wasn't quite the same. The NFL draft is a big spectacle, and it was just like, wow, this is really happening. Dreams are coming true, and it was really surreal for my family and I, but we really enjoyed the experience. Coming from a middle class to poor family, it changed our lives financially. So it was like I said, surreal.
Now, you mentioned you played baseball and was actually drafted out of high school. Why did you decide to, pursue a football career and go ahead and, go further on in your football career and not baseball?
Well, I love both sports, but I was always a baseball guy, primarily because, in high school, before college, it was baseball all year long, and football during football season. That quickly changed once I went to college because I had to be in football in school all year long. I played baseball only in the summers. What happened, like I said, I only wanted to go play college football. NFL wasn't even a dream of mine at the time in my high school. I planned on just playing and then going to the major league one day. But, you're in the minor leagues and you're playing in front of 10 people, as a rookie every day, 10 people in the stands. Then I would go home, I would go back to California during the fall and play in front of 9,000 people in the Rose Bowl. It eventually kind of wore on me, and it became more enjoyable.
Well,
that's
like I
said, football. So I had to go football.
Right. Now, like I said, you were drafted in the third round of the 2003 NFL Draft. What do you feel was the toughest transition you had to make in order to be successful in the NFL?
Well, business in the NFL, the difference between college and before that, it has a lot more to do with football. You're an adult now. You're living on your own. You have to be able to manage your on the field play as well as your off the field adventures and different ventures and whatever else you're involved in. And in your personal life, family time. You gotta become a man and be able to manage all these things. On top of having all this money that you've never had before. So there's a lot of X variables that come into being successful on the field, getting proper sleep, not going out and partying like, maybe in college, and things like that. You have to really be able to manage your time a lot better in the league than you do in college, and it affects your play a lot more because there's so many things that can happen. That was a hard transition for me. On the field, the speed of the game was different because everybody was fast, everybody was strong. It wasn't like college where you get a couple of teams and they have a couple of guys here and there. Every week it was, every day in practice it was Steve Smith. Every week you got Joe Horn and guys like Roddy White. Like every week it's somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's that was the difference. The speed of the game really was a lot different.
Talk about that very special rookie year of yours, if you can, Ricky, as you helped lead the Carolina Panthers to an 11-5 record and a Super Bowl appearance where you guys unfortunately fell short to the New England Patriots 32-29. You made some huge plays in the playoffs. I mean, you had a game-winning pick six to defeat the Rams in the divisional round. You picked off Donovan McNabb not once, not twice, but 3 times in the NFC Championship game. How were you able to just have so much success, you know, so early on in your football career?
You know, that testament of that goes to the people that helped me prepare. All off season and leading up until my appearance in Carolina. And our team, my team too. You know, we that week we really studied film. We chopped that film. We stuck together as a unit, and you know, we came up with a plan on how to attack the Eagles that game. And it was aggressive style. It kind of really actually. We got it from Green Bay Packers when Al Harris and Mike McKenzie were just attacking them aggressively, and it worked. So we said, you know what, we can do that too, you know, and that's why we had so much success that game and in that playoff run. You know, we came with a lot of aggression, you know, kind of like how you see the Seahawks playing right now. You know, I mean, not right now, but this past playoff run, they're real aggressive, real nasty. We became that as a defense and as a secondary. And it really propelled us to the life that we have in the Super Bowl.
After playing 3 seasons in Carolina, you were a restricted free agent, and the Chicago Bears placed an offer on the table that the Panthers were not willing to match, so you signed with the Bears. What was this change of scenery like for you, Ricky?
You know what? It was awesome, man. It was awesome for a couple of reasons. One, because of the contract, which was very nice. And you know, I definitely appreciated it, and I really appreciate not just the figure, but that they trusted me, you know, and I was rewarded for my play. But even the change of scenery, you know, Chicago was a lot colder than Carolina, and you know, it was just a little different. Soldier Field, you know, was just a different atmosphere, especially coming from just beating Chicago the year prior in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was in Carolina, it was just like, okay, so I was familiar with a lot of guys, and you know, one thing I liked, you know, about the Chicago team was the atmosphere was different in the locker room, and it was great at Carolina, no doubt. But the guys in Chicago, I just feel like we had a lot of fun. Like we had a lot of clowns in the team that took it seriously in the game, but when we got in the game, like we really had fun. I mean, I can recall several times that after practice for an hour and a half or something like that, just playing games and getting makeup in the locker room, or just, you know, and things like that, just, you know, things like that become unforgettable, you know, when you're talking about relationships with certain people. So I just remember that I was having so much fun in Chicago.
Ricky, you mentioned that you know, the year before you joined the Bears, that you know, you were on the Panthers and you beat the Bears in the playoffs. Did any of the Chicago Bears players, you know, that would now be your teammates, did any of them give you a hard time about that?
You know what? They really didn't give me too much. I mean, they really couldn't, you know, because we you know, because it was a good game. I remember what we did talk about, you know, and it actually helped us out too. When we started going on our run, I told them things that they could do it differently, because what happened was they beat us in a tight game that during the season that year. You know, so when they came in, plus they came in there really confident, talking about what they did the last game. Well, we actually had the same situation in Chicago when we got there, and I told them, hey, remember last year when you guys beat us when I was at Carolina, we came to the playoffs real cocky and super confident, and you know, Carolina came, you know, we ended up beating you guys. But we had Seattle Seahawks the same way. My first year in Chicago, we smacked them on Sunday Night Football the year earlier in the year, and we played them for a divisional game. I'm like, look, remember this? It's like going there overconfident because we beat them, and you know what? It was a tight game. We pulled it out, but I made sure to remind the guys, hey, we have to play hard, because it's going to be smoked them the first time. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing. You know, they're going to be ready, a lot more ready for us. So it kind of, you know, it worked out like that, and it was actually pretty cool.
All right, so you brought that experience of yours in Carolina in pretty good use over here in Chicago. Now, Ricky, I really started to become a fan of the game of football when you were on the Chicago Bears, and I swear I'm not just saying this because you're on the show, but you know you're always one of my favorite guys to watch because as a cornerback you could go and intercept the ball. You're a ball hawk, but you could also lay a pretty hard hit. Now, I just gotta get your thoughts on the stereotype that's out there nowadays that cornerbacks don't like to lay out big hits. They're pretty soft nowadays. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? That was an old stereotype. Guys like myself and Antoine Winfield, guys like that, he'll kind of change that atmosphere. It's not the same no more. Corners come up and you have to now. You got to be able to come up and tackle. Charles Tillman is a good example. He's another guy that's a big physical corner, likes to tackle and knock the ball out. That day of soft corners not being able to tackle no more is long gone, and NFL guys are looking for that. They're looking for tough guys that are ready to put their shoulder and their head in there. They just want to put their head and shoulder down and come up and hit these running backs because it's necessary, So I'm glad, when I was coming in, I pride myself in doing it. I pride myself in being a physical corner for two reasons. One, because I thought it was necessary, and two, because I was always being the smaller corner, 5'9" guy. So I have to be extra physical. I like to press guys and show them that I'm strong, I'm big, even though I'm 5'9". So I pride myself in bringing up and laying that wood.
All right, now a turnover is a turnover, but as a defensive back, as a cornerback, what would you rather prefer, an interception or a forced fumble?
Interception, bar none, interception. Definitely, forced fumbles are great, but that column gets lost. It gets lost. The interceptions is what stands out. But it all depends on what kind of forced fumble too. Because you have a forced fumble where you just turn the ball out. You have a forced fumble where you just absolutely separate the man from the ball. You know what I mean? On big hits. That day is probably overdue now for the NFL, separating guys from the ball because of all these rule changes. So now a forced fumble. I'm thinking more an exciting forced fumble would now be an exciting fine nowadays in the NFL. So I would definitely go with the interception now.
All right, so you spent 7 seasons in the NFL and 3 in the UFL. Seeing as the average NFL career is only like 3.5 years, and you were able to play much longer than that and play in 2 Super Bowls. What does Ricky Manning have to say about his football career?
Man, it was just a blessing. Unfortunately, injury kind of got me out of there. There's guys that are my age that are playing now that I came in with. But I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have had the time and the experience to play in the NFL as long as I did. I think my career, I made some great relationships. I had fun. I played under some great coaches and men. I learned a lot from them. I played with a bunch of great men, great men as well. But bar none, I've learned so much from John Fox and Lovie Smith. They have no idea just about some of the things they said and how they conducted themselves that I still say today and I still inherit today on top of the football experience. And it'll last with me a lot longer than the football experience. So by my football career, I think it was a blessing, and it helped me so much in my life, become the person I am today. So I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it, and now that I'm raising my own children, I got 4 boys. That's destiny right there. I got my own secondary now, ready to go.
I love it. Just a few more questions for you, Ricky, then I'll let you go. I really do appreciate it, man. Now, this is going to be a tough question, man. I know it's going to be a tough one to answer. Which Super Bowl team that you're a part of do you think was better, the 2003 Carolina Panthers or the 2006 Chicago Bears?
Oh, man, that is a tough one. I don't even know how to answer that. Well, you know what? I think the Carolina team might have been better. Our defense in Chicago was better, but the Carolina's offense was better. You had Steven Davis, Steve Smith, Deshaun Foster, and I think Jay kind of outplayed Rex that season. So I would go with Carolina for the simple fact of the offensive weaponry. It's a little bit more. Thomas Jones is right there too. But it's just you got that Steve Smith, man, and you understand Musa Muhammad was on both teams. He was also on Carolina. Carolina, winning the Super Bowl, which he had, you know, a record day, and then he was on Chicago too as well. But he was just a little bit younger at Carolina than he was in Chicago, so you know, I give Carolina the edge.
Ricky, you do realize this show is broadcasted out of Chicago, right, man?
Yeah, I know. I made it close. I know we're in Illinois.
Chris Schaff,
I gotta be honest. Gotta be honest. You know.
Hey, I appreciate that.
That'd been a great game, though.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being honest, man. Can't go wrong with that. Both teams were in the Super Bowl, so they're both great teams.
You know what? Check this out. This is food for thought. I didn't even think about this until you brought it up. I think if you reverse the Super Bowls, then I would be wearing 2 championship rings instead of 2 NFC championship rings, because I think the Chicago Bears team would have beat that New England team, and I think that the Carolina team would have beat that Indianapolis team.
Well,
I think the matchup would have been a little bit better if you switch them. You know, so if the Chicago team, we played New England, I think we would have beat New England. You know, Chicago better than Carolina did, and that's just because of the matchup. I think the matchup better.
And you're
matchup better, so that's what it's about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I remember watching this Bears and Bears and Colts Super Bowl like it was yesterday, man. What was the sideline like when Devin Hester returned that opening kickoff?
Oh man, another surreal moment, man. Like I mean, we couldn't even fathom that happening, and when it did, I mean, I kid you not, it was like we got this. You know, with our defense, like we can the momentum. Let's go. You know, we can. This thing is in the bag. We can really win this. Let's put the pressure on. And we were just jumping around. I remember like jumping around like a little kid, man. Like I couldn't believe it. Yeah, especially when there was no flags for that. I was like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. So the sideline was just bananas, man, with the players and the coaches jumping around and being excited.
Chris Schaff talking with former NFL defensive back Ricky Manning here on the CS Podcast. And Ricky, speaking of Super Bowls, man, we had the #1 defense in the Seattle Seahawks. I hate to say it, but they demolished the #1 offense and your former head coach, John Fox, and your brother from another mother, man, Peyton Manning. You know, they just demolished them 43-8 in Super Bowl 48. I wish you didn't know the answer to this question, Ricky, but how are these guys feeling, you know, 1, 2, 3 days after the Super Bowl?
Oh, man, that's sick. It lasts for it lasts for a pretty long time because, one, you're right there. You know, you're right there. Right there. It was you know, in your hands. Guys like Wes Walker, who lost 3 times now, Wes Walker. I mean, it's just devastating because he's so close. But he got so far because it's a whole new season. You got to do everything all over to try and get back there. You know, so I mean, you're just like, man, we're right there. You're thinking about what could you have done better. You know, Peyton Manning is going over and over in his brain. Why not just pull that ball down instead of trying to force it in when I see the arm coming up? Why not just throw it? You know, so you go over and over on the things you could have done wrong. I mean, the things you could have done better in that game to help your team win. Now. With margin of victory that Seattle had, you know, it makes it a little bit easier because you're like, man, we just didn't come today. But when it's close, like our Chicago Indianapolis game was, or the Carolina New England game, I mean, the difference in that game is 2 plays, 3 plays. So it's like you're going over and over in your head of what could you have done to have a successful play and make your team win, have your team win.
Is Seattle Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman the best in the NFL?
You know what? I believe so, man. I think he's definitely the best corner right now. You got to give it to him, man. He has the range to prove it. He has the stats to prove it. He has the stature, you know, tall, fast, can run, you know, physical receiver. I mean, him and Darrell Reeves are pretty close hand in hand, but, you know, I have to give it to Richard Sherman. He has, you know, that's NFL picks this year. I mean, he's the man right now.
Hey, can't go wrong. I can't argue with you, man. Now I'd like to throw in Charles Tillman in that conversation as well, but he had a pretty banged up season, a lot of injuries, so definitely got to give it to Richard Sherman right now. And Ricky, man, I really do appreciate your time on this show. It's been a true pleasure. Final question for you, man. Some people may or may not know this, but nowadays you're actually a football coach. How's that treating you? What's it like being on the sideline coaching up those guys?
Oh, man, it's great. You know, it's great. I love it. I didn't think I'd be a coach this early in my life. I thought I'd wait till my kids get older. But, it's great to be in your intended purpose. I always thought it was to pick down McNabb all 3 times, take my team to the Super Bowl. But I realized that it's to be an influence in these kids' life, to be a leader of young men, and because of my career in the NFL, my experiences on and off the field, it makes my influence in these kids that much greater. I can guide them and lead them in a way that they need, and I love it. I can accomplish that. I can accomplish that through coaching football. So I'm excited about it, man. I love the game. I've always been a student of the game, and just helping these young men, whether it's college, whether it's young NFL players or old NFL players, just helping them better themselves, on the field and off. It's just, I couldn't ask for anything better, man. And I'm trying to work my way back up to the NFL. Right now I'm at Fresno City College, and I love it here. But my goal is to get back there. Talking to Chris Harris, the guy I play with.
Oh yeah.
He's coaching there in Chicago now. I talk to him all the time, man. Hey Chris, he loves it, man. And I'm trying to be there. Hopefully, get an internship with the Bears this fall. Our mini camp. I would love to come up there and just, see the other side of it in the NFL as a coach. But I'll keep pushing, man, and you'll see me somewhere.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. The city of Chicago will definitely welcome you back with open arms, man. Like you mentioned, last season was Chris Harris's first year back here. I'm sure the fans of the Chicago Bears would not mind Ricky Manning coming to Chicago, coaching up this defense that actually struggled pretty bad last season.
Yeah, they had, injury, stuff playing a part of that, man. But I'm always rooting for that defensive backfield. You can bet that, especially with my boy. Peanut is still there, and just once you play for a team, you kind of never not become a fan. I always root for the Bears. I root for Jay Cutler, Julius Peppers, who I played with at Carolina, my boy. I root for him and those guys. So, when guys like Charles Tillman leading that secondary and coaches like Chris Harris, they'll be back, and I'm thinking next year they're going to be making a run at the Super Bowl.
Well, do you think Charles Tillman will be back in Chicago, man? He's a free agent, and of course, your guy, Lovie Smith, is in Tampa Bay now.
Yep. Okay. Well, you know what? It'll be interesting. That's a good point. I did think of that when that happened. That Lovie Smith is in Tampa, and he's going to want to get Charles. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to put the money up to keep him there, man. He's done too much. You're talking about one of the most productive corners in the NFL the past 4 or 5 years. One of the most productive corners. So it'd be hard to let him go. It'd be hard to let that kid go. So we'll see, though. The NFL, sometimes they thought, if they're not going to let Peyton Manning go, then, who knows if Chicago will keep him. But I think that he'll be there.
I sure hope so. Of course, last year we let go of Brian Urlacher, man. So I hate to say it wouldn't be much of a surprise, but I sure hope number 33 is back in a Bears uniform next season. And Ricky, I really do appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much. Before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to say to myself and our listeners?
Oh, man, I just thank you for having me on, man. Hey, it's Bear Nation all the way, always and forever. And follow me on my Instagram, Ricky Manning Jr. And keep in touch, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, definitely. Ricky, we'll have to do it again, man. Would love to talk some Chicago Bears with you next season. Keep in touch and take care, all right?
All right, brother.